Hello, mamas, and welcome to Empowered Hospital Birth, the podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth. I am the founder of Looma Birth and Empowered Hospital Birth Online. I am a childbirth educator, birth and postpartum doula, and a mama of 3 beautiful babies. Here at Looma Birth and Empowered Hospital Birth, we believe hospital birth can be informed, supported, and deeply empowering, no matter if you're planning to be unmedicated or fully medicated in your birth experience. Every week, this podcast is here to help you feel calm, confident, and prepared for wherever your birth journey will bring you. So grab a cup of coffee, take a couple of deep breaths, and today, let's get into this episode. One of the biggest fears I hear from my clients is, what if I change my mind? We're starting to get into that 3rd trimester. Whoa, I have to get this baby out of me, right? And that is very overwhelming when we start to make that switch, right? We're no longer planning for our pregnancy and, how big is the baby this week? And all of those things. But we're really starting to think of like, oh my goodness, I have to get this baby from inside my body to outside my body and into my arms. And as I'm planning for my birthing time, as I'm planning for that moment, what happens if I don't get what I want? And we can't plan in so many regards for our birth time, but we have to be so prepared for it. So what happens if you change your mind? Well, you change your mind, mamas, papas, that's okay. We have the right to change our mind, and we have the right to change our mind again. So if you want an epidural or you don't want an epidural, if you want all the interventions possible or you want a hands-off natural experience, if you need an induction or maybe even a C-section, these are all normal, natural things. And we as doulas are here to support you through all of that. So I don't want you to worry too much about your preferences in some regards. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. So stay tuned, listen up. Let's get through the whole episode. Okay, mamas and papas? We get really hung up. We put this pressure on ourselves that these things that we're assigning to ourselves, that I want an epidural, that I don't want an epidural, that these matter in our identity. And we just can't foresee the future. So of course, if we are an Olympian, we want a gold medal, but that doesn't mean we can guarantee that we're going to get one. We can train to be the best of our abilities. So we are putting the best possible version of ourselves out at our Olympic trials, at the Olympics themselves. But that doesn't mean we're going to win that gold, even if that's what we want, even if that's on our vision board. There are so many other factors that go into winning a gold medal. And yes, I dove right in with sports metaphors. If you are new here or don't know me, I do have a sports background. I do make a lot of sports analogies because look it. Labor is physical, it's mental, and yes, it is not just one day that's isolated alone. It is something you should and can be training for. That is a big thing that I talk about in Empowered Hospital Birth Online and here at Looma with our doulas. So it's not about making this rigid plan and what if your birth doesn't go according to plan. It's this fear of what if I change my mind? And again, mamas, papas, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to think you have prepped and planned and done everything for an unmedicated birth, and then your birth feels like it's a runaway train and you want that epidural to check back into the station. That is okay. And that is acceptable. And that is great, because what the epidural is, or what is any choice is when you're going through your labor and delivery experience, is just that. It is a choice. And one of the things that I think first-time families don't understand right now is that they have so many choices to make when you're going to the hospital, when you're planning for that birth experience. So you need to be educated. You need to understand what those choices are, what those options are, because the hospital is this one big giant buffet. And yes, they want you to eat the chicken, the beef, and the potatoes because that's what most people get. But you have the right to choose broccoli or fish or anything else that is actually on that buffet. But if you don't know what's on the buffet, you don't know what choices you have, you don't know what you're eating, you don't know what you're doing. So mamas and papas, I don't want you to think that it has to be black or white, that it has to be, this is my birth preference, I have to stick with it. right? I don't want you to die on any of these hills because honestly, no matter how much you prepare for, you are going to need to make birthing day decisions. And some of that's going to come around your comfort. Some of that's going to come alongside interventions of the hospital staff that will maybe or maybe not make you more comfortable. And so I don't want you to think about failing or disappointing yourself or disappointing your partners or worse off, like disappointing your doula. It's like if you have a doula, we are there to support you, mama, and help you make those choices. We're not there to pass judgment. We're not going to be disappointed if you choose to get an epidural. So the big thing is birth happens in real time. You don't know. We cannot make plans for when your labor will start. We cannot make plans for how long your labor will be, mama. We can't plan and account for how tired you're going to be when you get started in active labor. This is why we tell our families to rest towards the end as we're expecting labor to start, because we want your tank to be as full as possible. But that's a different episode. I don't know how your baby is going to tolerate labor. Some babies don't even notice. They look great. They love labor. And then whoop, they're out and they're in your arms. And other babies really struggle being in labor. It's hard for them. Maybe it's a size issue. Maybe it's other medical issues. So these are things that we don't know until we are in your birthing time, until your birthing time is real and active and we are here experiencing it, that we will know how your birth is going to unfold. And it will unfold one sensation at a time. It will unfold one decision at a time. And it will unfold one comfort care at a time. Eventually, that baby is going to get across the finish line. They're going to come into your arms. And then you will have a complete birth story. But until baby is literally in your arms, we won't know some of those. We won't know how you tolerate it, how baby tolerates it. So we want to set ourselves up for success. We want to have those birth preferences. We want to be educated and understand what's on the hospital buffet station. But we need to be kind with ourselves. We need to let go of some of that control, because ultimately, what happens if I change my mind? You change your mind, mama. It is that control aspect that we are so trained for as modern mamas, right? We want to control the situation. We want to feel things. We want to schedule things. We want to be in control. And so that birth preference list, it feels like a piece of control. And when we start to leave it, when we start to deviate it, when your birth in real time needs you to use a different comfort care measure than maybe was your preference A, B, or C, then we start to lose some of that control. And then we start to panic. That's the piece, mama. That's that mental piece that you got to explore and you got to start to plan and prep for, of how do we surrender to this process? And as you listen to multiple podcast episodes, I know this is a theme I'm going to come back to, because it is an act of surrendering. It's this act of trusting that your birth will unfold as it needs to, especially when you are educated and supported in the appropriate ways, mamas. You will be able to make those real-time decisions. And so you can go with the flow. You can be supported, and we can surrender that control. We can surrender that fear of changing our plan. We can accept as our birth unfolds. Okay, so I wanted to share my goal as if I was to be your birth doula. My goal with this podcast, my goal with educating you, is that it is not that I want you to stick and write a birth plan or a birth preference list that is rigid, right? I keep using birth preference list, not birth plan, because I want it to be your preference list. I want you to go in with that open mind. I want you to go in instead of like, did I do labor right? Did I birth the right way? Well, mamas, did you understand your options? Did you feel informed? Did you feel supported? Did you make decisions that felt right in that moment? If the answers are yes to those questions, then you are having an empowered birth experience. Do I wish that there were different outcomes to some of my own personal stories? Sure, absolutely. Do I have clients who wish that they chose other options? in hindsight, yes, I'm not here to sugarcoat that it's all perfect if you hire me or you hire a birth doula. It's not, mamas. But when you understand those options through education prenatally, when you understand and are supported in that moment, that you have time to reflect and review your preferences to help you make the right decisions. When you ultimately are the one making the decisions for your healthcare, for your birth, for your baby, that is the empowerment. That is the empowered hospital birth story. And that's the thing that I feel like so many mamas don't get, right? That they get caught up, oh, I didn't want to get an epidural, but I got an epidural. Well, hey, honey, labor is really long and really hard. And you just don't know where or how you're going to meet it. And once it is a runaway train, it is so impossibly hard to hop on a runaway train, right? We're not outlaws. We're not going to be able to do that. And so an epidural is not something to ever feel ashamed about if that's not part of your plan A in your birth preferences, but you need one. It is one tool to be used. Inductions or medical interventions is another thing that I see on here, my clients all the time. I just want to be able to birth naturally. I don't want any interventions. And then something comes up medically for mama, for baby that needs to end the pregnancy, right? We got to get that baby out of there. It's no longer the best ideal conditions for them. And so you have a medical reason to be induced. That's not a failure, mama. It's not. It's just where it is. So we do the best we can with the information that we have at that time. And then we go from there. Did you make the right decisions that felt right in that moment? If you say yes to that, mama, that's the best you can possibly do in your birthing time. So things I really want mamas to hear. When you're listening to this, when you're hopefully walking or driving or something, having some flexibility in your birth preferences, it's not a failure. You don't get bonus points if you're suffering just to stick with your preferences. You have to meet yourself where you are and how you're showing up. Okay? You don't lose any points. Nobody is keeping track of any points. There's no point score for birth. And you don't have to earn points and you don't lose points. Okay? If you deviate from those birth preference lists, you cannot fail your own birth. Okay? So this is why education matters. This is why I am so passionate about doing my free discovery calls with first-time families to walk them through all of their options that they have, because I want you to understand the biggest thing as a first-time family is you have so many options at your disposals. And then once you know what those options are, you can start doing some sleuthing, some digging, some understanding about where your values and preferences are. And then mamas, papas, trust yourself, trust the process. You don't have to become an expert in birth in order to have an empowered birth experience. You have to get to know yourself. You need to be an expert at yourself in order to succeed. And I don't mean an expert who knows themselves inside and out, because we're all humans. We're always growing. We're always changing. But you have to have some guidelines. You have to do some self-reflection in preparing for your birthing story. So my takeaway from this episode of what if I change my mind? Hey, mama, it's okay. The goal isn't the birth that you imagined at 20 weeks or 28 weeks or 40 weeks. The goal is making the best decisions you can with the information you have at that moment. And if you do that, you are going to be so wildly successful, mama. You have to extend yourself a little more grace, a little more gratitude. You have grown this baby. You are birthing this baby. And I, Elizabeth, as your doula, am so proud of you. So if you liked this video, please make sure that you like and follow for more. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonated with you at all, I'd love if you would share it with a pregnant friend of yours. Leave a review or connect with me over Instagram at Looma Birth. And remember, you don't have to know exactly how you will give birth in order to feel confident preparing for your birth. Until next time, mamas, you got this. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope today's conversation helps you feel a little more informed, a little more confident, and a little more empowered as you prepare for your birth journey. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful if you subscribed, left a review, or shared it with another expecting parent. And if you're looking for personalized birth support, childbirth education, or postpartum care, I would love to connect with you with a free 20-minute discovery call. You can learn more through the links in the show notes. Until next time, I want you to remember this. You are capable, you are strong, and you don't have to do this alone. I'll see you next week.